All right, all right.
Okay. Hi, you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So there's a fighter that just put his name on the map with the assistance of his promoter, Eddie Hearn. And the reason why I say he put his name on the map, because me and a lot of other boxing fans didn't even know who he was until he came out and said this about Carmel Molton.
100%. Like, I went to America and didn't know what I was going to expect, but coming out of there, I got such a boost of confidence, you know what I mean? I dealt with those guys, I'm not going to say easy, but I just dealt with them quite comfortably. And it was good sparring Carmel Molton. Obviously, you know, he's big, everyone talks about him as the next Mayweather, this and that. But they should be talking about that about me for 100%. I got the footage of the sparring. Obviously, due respect to him, he's a very good spar, but yeah, they should start talking to me like that.
Well, I've got to ask, obviously, I know what the spars are like in the US. They're not like here. They're wars.
They were wars, and that's what he wanted to do with me, but I never let it happen. I was just boxing his head off.
No, you've let the cat about now. Cut. No.
So you heard him. He said he was boxing Molton's head off, and he's got the footage of the sparring. Now, his name is Giorgio Visioli. He's 22 years old. He's a former kickboxer, and he's 7-0 with 6 knockouts right now. Now, while Giorgio said he boxed Carmel's head off, Eddie Hearn, he watched the footage, and he took it even further. He said he tore Carmel Molton to pieces.
I said to him, Molton is pending to be the next Tank, the next Mayweather. He let the cat out of the bag a little bit by saying that he'd done well. Well, I won't say what he said, but he'd done well in that spot. Smashed him to pieces. Well, he said it. So can we start talking about this young man, the way they talk about Molton in the US? Can we talk about him like the next Kawasaki, the next
sparring, right? And you know, everybody's. I said that there's a lot of good young fighters, so you've got to do something a little bit extraordinary to get noticed and to break out of the pack.
You know, it's kind of funny that Eddie, he says sparring is sparring, but at the same time, before he said that, he said that his fighter smashed Carmel Molton to pieces. And with Eddie being a promoter, he should have known with him saying something like that on the microphone, he's putting a target on his fighter's back. I mean, even when Giorgio said that he boxed Carmel's head off, you heard the guy who was interviewing him, he said, no, cut. Because he knows that if he says something like that on a microphone, he's putting more pressure on himself and he's putting a bigger target on his back. I mean, you pour blood into the ocean, the sharks are going to come. And that's exactly what happened, because it didn't take Carmel Molton too long to respond at all. He came out, he put this up. He said, buddy definitely ain't smashed nothing, but you can hype your boy up off a sparring session with me. If you're trying to really test this level where it counts, you know where to find me, Eddie. And once again, this is exactly why the guy who was interviewing Giorgio and Eddie, he didn't want them to say anything like this because he knew that this was going to happen. Carmel was going to end up calling him out because everybody knows that Carmel is always ready for the smoke. Carmel just told Eddie right now, if you really have that much confidence in your boy, you think that he smashed me up, etc., then why don't you make the fight? Now, remember how Eddie Hearn's energy was when it came to him pushing for Andy Cruz versus Keyshawn Davis fight, right? I mean, I remember it was over a year ago. Eddie Hearn, he was on FaceTime with Keyshawn Davis saying, let's make the fight now. Let's make it right now, like right now. And this was around the time that Andy Cruz had like about 3 or 4 fights. And Andy himself was even saying he wasn't ready to fight Keyshawn Davis. So how many of you guys think that Eddie Hearn is going to have the same energy and push for Carmel Molton to take a fight against his new fighter, Giorgio Visioli? We all know the answer to that. And the crazy thing is they can't even use a lack of experience when it comes to Giorgio, because both Giorgio and Carmel Molton have the same amount of pro fights. Surprisingly, the biggest difference between the two is Giorgio is 22 years old and Carmel Molton is only 18. And this is once again what I mean when I say the standards are often set much higher for Black American boxers. The 18-year-old wants to fight against the 22-year-old. But you already know the majority of these fans are going to say the 22-year-old is not ready. He's not ready right now. He's not ready to fight a Carmel Molton. And that right there shows you the levels that exist in the sport of boxing. Now, since we're all pretty new to Giorgio, I want to show you some highlights of his last fight. And I'll tell you, he's pretty good. He has a slick boxing style. And you know what I mean when I say a slick style, like an American slick style. So I'm going to play this clip, and I want you guys to make sure you pay attention to what the commentators are saying, the way they are praising this slick style that he has.
Only 22 years old, Visioli. Oh, lovely left, seemed to stun the leg slightly. He's menacing, isn't he, Pat? As he's just has that little spring in his steps, hands low, trying to bait Kane Baker in.
Comes out of nowhere, and like you mentioned, he's very, very fast.
And is the game.
Look at him. He sticks and moves. He ties up when he needs to.
Two in the majority of his contests. Strong. On the receiving end here, again, lovely left hand.
He's a southpaw, as you can see, changing levels, using slick feints, all good stuff. Now here he is right here, floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble, huh?
He doesn't come lunging in, does he, older yet?
Oh, and the referee's seen enough. The towel also comes in.
Now, to Giorgio's defense, he did a lot more in this fight than I'm showing, but I just can't play too much of the fight, obviously. But you will notice just from these highlights is if Giorgio did not have the complexion for the protection, they would be using all of those infamous code words to describe him. In fact, I'm not sure, but these might be the same commentators that was calling the Shakur Stevenson-Josh Padley fight when I was watching it, the UK commentators. But regardless, you could see the excitement, you could hear the excitement as they were calling this Giorgio fight.
A joy to watch. He really is.
And just to give you guys a little bit more contrast, and this is not to say anything bad about Giorgio's record, but it does show you guys the levels that exist and the high standards that even Black Americans themselves set because of the level of talent and confidence that they have. So just remember, they both have the same amount of fights. Carmel Molton has already fought 3 undefeated fighters. One of the undefeated fighters that Molton fought was a PBC signed fighter in Anthony Cuba, undefeated prospect and highly ranked decorated amateur standout. And Carmel Molton's last fight was against a guy who had a record of 5-1. It was a Cuban fighter, a talented Cuban fighter who actually had that one loss on his record. The loss was to another undefeated Cuban fighter. And then you look at Giorgio Visioli's record. Now, what's really interesting is the highlights I was showing you guys. That was his very last fight. You see the opponent, he was 19-11, Kane Baker. Now, during that fight, the UK commentators, they actually said that this is a step up in competition for Giorgio. So if you look at the dichotomy, this means that while Giorgio still has his training wheels on, Carmel Molton damn near started his professional career with no training wheels. Remember, Carmel's promoter, Floyd Mayweather, he actually wanted Carmel to fight for a title in his pro debut against Leigh Wood, but of course Leigh Wood, he turned it down, despite the fact that it would have been Leigh Wood's biggest payday of his entire career. And now he will most likely never make that kind of payday. You know, since a lot of fans are going to say that the 22-year-old is not ready for the 18-year-old, I think it would make sense for them to match Giorgio against one of Carmel Molton's best opponents, like Frank Zaldivar or Anthony Cuba. Because if Giorgio's step up in competition was against Kane Baker, then we know him fighting against one of Carmel's opponents would really be a step up for him. With that being said, I'm gonna wrap this video up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Diki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodiki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com.